Hello guys, and if you look at the part 1 of this video, which will help you more into understanding what we're going to be learning in the part 2 of this video, we were learning about the two different categories of cells and what's the difference between them and pretty much the basics of them. And now we'll be digging deeper into this lesson and learning more about the organelles, the organs of the cell. The organelle and the organs of the cell is the same thing, so what's the use of saying both? Anyways, we're going to be learning about the organs of the cell and some of the functions of those organelles. So before we continue, I wanted to say one thing that or even though a prokaryotic is pretty basic, because we'll be learning just basically about what a prokaryotic cell's anatomy is. Eukaryotic cell is then Eukaryotic cells are then separated into two more categories, and now it's getting more and more complex. But you still need to learn this as a beginner. Eukaryotic cell Eukaryotic cells are separated into two more categories, which include plant cells and animal cells. You will learn and understand why they both are different when we dig deeper into the anatomy of the cell. So, let's start. But what are we waiting for? So first we'll be talking about animal cells of a eukaryotic cell. So, just a second. Oops. Here. So this right here is the animal cell, an eukaryotic animal cell. Okay? So, right here we have the pretty basic, actually a pretty complex drawing of an eukaryotic animal cell, and over here we have a eukaryotic animal cell being split in half, and we can see from a bird's eye view of something related to an animal cell. And now we'll be looking more deeper into it over here. So an animal cell's main organelle, in my opinion, is the nucleus. So this purple ball thing you see in the middle, this right here is the nucleus. So the nucleus is the brain of the cell. Mainly, it's the brain. So being the brain, it holds the main genetic material. So like how big the cell should grow, how much it should reproduce, um, how like let's say it tells you how what color your eyes will be, or it will say what color your skin will be, or the structure of your face, or the structure of your body. That's technically all the genetic material inside the nucleus. And then the nucleus is separated into four sections. One are the nuclear pores. The nuclear pores are these little holes inside, which is basically the only way of getting stuff in and out of the cell. Then we have the nucleic envelope or nuclear envelope, which is the skin of the nucleus. Then we have the DNA. DNA is all the stuff which is floating the inside the nucleus, and this is what makes protein synthesis. You can learn more about protein synthesis in our next videos being produced by Genius Fall Studio, and I hope you watch those. Anyways, that's the DNA, which pretty much takes everything inside it. Then there's also the nucleic plasma, which is not written here, but is kind of like the liquid inside the cell, which makes the DNA float and not get messed up. And finally, we have the nucleus, which is the area inside, all the way inside the nucleus, which has the chromosomes. So this is what the nucleus is. And then we have the endoplasmic reticulum. Yes, a really, really long name. The endoplasmic reticulum. Even I buffer at that name. And it's okay. You will learn. So we have this rough endoplasmic reticulum. And the rough endoplasmic reticulum is pretty much an area which protects the nucleus in a way, and also an area where protein RNA messengers are released, and ribosomes. We'll be talking about ribosomes in this video, and the RNA messengers will be taught about in the protein synthesis video. So, yeah. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is also another complex concept which we won't be talking about in this video, but it's a good part of the organelle which you should know about. The Golgi apparatus is the organelle over here, which helps the RNA messenger to make protein, and that'll be learned about in the protein synthesis as well. Now we'll be talking about something which we're actually going to be learning about, which is the mitochondrion. The mitochondrion is the energy house of the cell. So the mitochondrion, it's a big name, so I'm just going to write mitochon. So the mitochon is the area of the cell which makes energy for the cell to move, to digest, to just do anything in the cell to make the cell work in the way. It's the electricity. So where the electricity is made in the way. So the food is digested technically. So digested in quotes, air quotes. So this is where like energy is made for the cell. So there are a lot of them around the eukaryotic animal cell. Then we have lysomes. I'm gonna do that in another color, so it'll be easier to understand. So we have lysomes. Lysomes is the part of the cell that which breaks down waste. So it breaks down waste. It makes, like, let's say there's waste in, because like every living thing in the cell, in any living thing makes waste. So inside the cell, when there's waste, the lysomes in here, what they do is they, using the enzymes inside it, they digest and break down all that waste. So that's that. Then we have these other names, like we have the centrosome, the prexosome, the centriole, and we have all this stuff. But that stuff is a lot more complex into the cell, and we won't really be talking about that in any of the videos. Now we'll be talking about ribosomes. Ribosomes is an organelle which moves. I'll write that here. Ribosomes. So ribosomes move throughout the cell and help make protein. And this part is the main process for helping the mitochondria make energy. And we won't be talking about that in this video. We'll be talking about that in the protein synthesis video. Yes, lots of stuff in the cell make protein. And that's what helps everything inside the cell. So protein is so important in the cell because it both helps the cell make energy, and protein is also what almost everything in the whole cell is made of, like the cell membrane. So the cell membrane is the skin of the cell. This is what makes this this is what lets material come both in and out of the cell, make energy, like make food come inside the cell, and makes waste get released out of the cell. So it's kind of the gates / walls of the cell. That's the cell membrane. And then we have the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is also a really main category of the cell. The cytoplasm is, cyto means cell. So cytoplasm is the cell's liquid. So like technically the flesh. So all this empty space you see here, that's not empty space, but that's the watery, liquidy liquid called cytoplasm. Liquidy liquid. Funny term. Anyways, the cytoplasm is what helps organelles stay in place, and also help other organelles move. Like for example, ribosomes to move from the rough endoplasmic reticulum to the Golgi apparatus. So that's these are the main basic parts of the eukaryotic cell. And a last portion of this is the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton is also a really complex topic, but I'll just go over this really roughly. So the cytoskeleton is separated into three main parts in this. The microtubule are these protein made things in air quotes because they're not exactly things that help, because it's the skeleton that help the cell stay like this. Otherwise, without this, the whole cell will be one crushed thingy. Yes, thingy. So without the microtubules, um, the intermediate filament and the microfilament, these parts of the cell help the cell stay in place and have a structure. So that's what the cytoskeleton is. And now you'll be wondering, I'm already so tired by this. Like, how can I learn more about plant cells and prokaryotic cells when I'm already tired by this? Well, actually, you don't need to be tired by this because plant cells are pretty much the same thing. Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing. Everything inside the plant cell you see here is the exact same thing as the eukaryotic cells. But there are some differences that make a plant cell more complex than a eukaryotic cell. Because eukaryotic cells are part of multicellular organisms, which are animals which move around like humans and lions and anything which is an animal. Because they have bones, which is a totally different thing, we don't need structure because bones help the multicellular organism. So MC means multicellular organism have structure. But plants don't have bones. So how do they stand so straight and tall and powerful and in place? Well, that is what we have to go all the way deep into the plant cell, into cellular level, and go into the cell wall. Yes, the cell wall. But you'll be wondering, what is this? Why is a cell wall so important, and what is it first of all? Cell wall is a really it's compacted with protein. So compacted with protein, and this makes it really strong. These ridges like on the cell wall, these ridges help it have a grip on other plant cells, and it makes it have a structure. Cell walls also helps it just helps with structure. That's the main purpose of a cell wall. Then we have this huge thingy, which is not in a eukaryotic cell. This is the vacuole. Vacuole, yes. A vacuole is let me do that in another color. The vacuole is technically the storage of a plant cell. Storage, yes. A vacuole stores energy, stores food and water. So food and water. So because animals can move around and get food, eat it, and help their cells continue thriving, plants just stay in place. So most likely they get food only sometimes when it rains or when it's like when there are waters on them or if there's a puddle. But when they don't, their food and water is stored inside this thing, these vacuoles, which slowly by slowly is used over. So this is a really helpful part of plant cells. And finally, which separates plant cells from animal cells, is this, the chloroplast. Chloroplasts, a lot of people know about this, make plants green. This, but you'll be wondering, yes, I know plants are green, and I've always wondered why they're green by biology and not by physics. So, and now I know that chloroplasts make them green. But how do chloroplasts make them green? Inside chloroplasts, there are chloroply, and then is then chloroply helps plant cells use sunlight to make sugar, and then the sugar is then used for energy, and aka chloroplasts help in photosynthesis. So now you understand. Hopefully think that you have understand more about eukaryotic cells, and I hope you have liked this video. But there's still a part three to this video, and for that we'll be going over prokaryotic cells.